From our invited guests and stakeholders. Alhaji Ibrahim Denda Bello, Alhaji Tajuddin Aide Oluruku Oloruko Oba, thank you for that correction, sir. Alhaji Abdulrazak Yusuf Aji Bade, Alhaji Mashhur Abdul Sir Adeleke, thank you. The CEO of Abu Hanif Limited Global, the Concept Global Limited. Then we have Engineer Abdulwahab Abdulrahman, who is representing Sheikh Abdullah Al-Shafa. Is that so, sir? Thank you. Then we have Malam Nasir Abdul Qadir, who is the co-convener of this event, the CEO of NUPRC TV Africa. Thank you so much, sir. I will be with you shortly after. As the corner of the official of the Northwest First Citizen Connect Conference 2025. Today, we dive into a critical conversation on how regulatory framework and upstream oil and gas performance can stabilize economic prosperity beyond 2027. Did you know that improved regulatory framework in the energy sector could directly increase our national GDP by 5% in the next 5 years? Well, yes. For all of us who have sacrificed time and resources to be here, I say welcome to Kaduna 2025. Please give yourselves a round of applause. We now move to one of the most important segments, the panel discussion. Our panelists will explore how regulatory excellence and upstream oil and gas performance can drive sustainable economic growth. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished moderator, Malam Nasir Abdul Qadir, the CEO of NUPRC TV Africa. Please give him a round of applause. Professor Mohammed Osman will discuss governance, democracy, and conflict management in the context of national and regional development. His insight will help us understand how academic research and policy framework guide sustainable development. A renowned scholar of political science and international relations, born in Cairo, Kaduna State, Benin State in the year 15 March 1963. He has over 3 decades of experience, BSc, LSc, and PhD in academical and public service, publishing numerous books and papers, and serving in key leadership roles. He has blazed events hosted by ECOWAS, NDA, and African Asian Study Association, and participated in major public dialogues such as Global Summit on Financial Crime Qatar 2013. Please help me to give a warm welcome to Professor Uthman Mohammed.
Supremo Swaga. We want to say, we want to appreciate, It is
we share insight on media, governance, and environmental advocacy in driving policy reform. His perspective is vital to understand how communication and citizen engagement shares sustainable governance. He's a distinguished Nigerian journalist and a media expert. Comrade Adijimo has championed climate action, investigative reports, and civic engagement, earning multiple awards and traditional honor. He is also the CEO and the head of communication, research, and strategy at Bonsolo TV. Please welcome Comrade Abdulhamid Mojo Adejimo, popularly known as to the advocates. We are honored to receive, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We are honored to receive goodwill message from our invited guests once again and stockholders, appreciating them for their support. Alhaji Ibrahim Dende Bello, Alhaji Tajuddin Alide Elenko Oba, Alhaji Abdulrazak Yusuf Ajibade, Alhaji Moshood Adeleke, the CEO Abu Hanif Limited Global, and Engineer Abdulwahab Abdulrahman, representing Sheikh Abdulmir Ashafa. Thank you so much.
I invite the co-convener of the Northwest First Citizen Connect Conference 2025 to deliver the opening remarks. Please put your hands together for him as he comes. Malan Nasir Abdul Qadir, the CEO of NAS TV Africa. Please put your hands together for him.
Put it there. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your patience, and we promise you that we will not take too much of your time. And the essence of being here is to inform the citizen of what they should know and how you can deepen your understanding of governance. But before I go further, I'd like to recognize the member of the high table, my Professor Usman, my comrade, thank you very much, sir, and my politician and a businessman in our midst, and Mr. Sam. We appreciate your coming, and we appreciate everybody at the high table. Let me start this way. Distinguished guests, respected traditional rulers, members of the academia, policymakers, civil society actors, and fellow citizens. I welcome you with deep appreciation to the Northwest edition of the First Citizen Connect Conference in Nigeria, here in the historic city of Kaduna. This gathering is a testimony to our collective commitment to nation building. A reminder that governance is not the duty of government alone, but the responsibility of all who call Nigeria home. The Citizens Engagement Conference is a civic innovation, a deliberate effort to connect citizenship with the people and transform public policy from mere pronouncement into shared understanding and collective ownership. Across the six geopolitical zone, this engagement seeks to awaken the citizens for deepen dialogue and build trust in the journey toward prosperous, self-reliant Nigeria. Kaduna, being the political and the intellectual heart of northern Nigeria, stands as a symbolic bridge between history and the modern governance, a city where the nation's unity, resilience, and diversity coverage. Holding this edition here underscores the Northwest Central role in driving Nigeria's reform agenda and consolidating its democratic progress. Our team, the positive impact of oil and gas reform by the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration could not have come at a better time. The oil and gas sector has long stood as both a blessing and a burden to our nation. For decades, inefficiency, opacity, and subsidies distortion weakened our capacity for growth. The Petroleum Industry Act, BIA 2021, changed that trajectory, offering a legal, physical, and institutional impact for Nigeria's most strategic sector. Through the establishment of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) and the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA), we have, for the first time, achieved clarity between regulation and operation. The President Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration has since built on this legacy, demonstrating uncommon courage by implementing the regulation and subsidy removal decision that, though challenging, are steering towards long-term economic sustainability. These reforms are not without temporary discomfort, but every meaningful reform carries the pain of transition. The regulation has begun to open space for private investment, stimulate refinery rehabilitation, and encourage modular refining across regions. Our 5 gas reserves are now being positioned as transition energy for industrial growth, while host communities, through the Host Community Development Trust, are gaining structural access to benefits that promote inclusion and local empowerment. But beyond the economics, there's a greater lesson, that of national unity and collective resilience. For reform to succeed, citizens must see themselves as co-authors of progress, not as detached observers. We must stand together as Nigerians, transcending ethnicity, religion, and region, to drive this reform with faith, patience, and the shared vision of national renewal. When citizens are united in understanding, reform gain legitimacy. When divided by suspicion, progress falters. In a world where global interests are often cloaked in the language of aid, advice, or intervention, we must remain vigilant. True partnership is welcome. Manipulation is not. As a people, we must resist any external influence that seeks to exploit our internal disagreement or economic vulnerabilities. The strength of our sovereignty lies in our unity and our capacity to debate, reform, and rebuild within, not by surrendering our autonomy to others who neither share our struggles nor our aspirations. This does not mean blind loyalty or silence in the face of poor governance. On the contrary, citizens must continue to demand transparency, accountability, and the competence from leaders at all levels. But such demands should come from a place of national consciousness, not anger without direction, nor activism that compromises our independence. A nation can correct itself without collapsing itself. Responsible citizen means holding leaders accountable while protecting the authenticity of our national purpose. Let us therefore see this conference not as a political event, but as a civic awakening. Each session, each dialogue, and each idea shared here contribute to building a more informed citizenry. When citizens connect, government becomes responsive. When we engage constructively, governance becomes participatory. That is how democracy matures, not through hostility, but through enlightened engagement rooted in patriotism and truth. In closing, I appeal to all of us here, the policy makers, professionals, market women, students, entrepreneurs, and community leaders to embrace these reforms as part of broader journey toward national self-reliance. Let us guide our sovereignty with wisdom, drive reform with unity, and sustain hope with discipline. The oil and gas reforms are not merely about fair law finance. They are both faith in Nigeria's capacity to evolve, reform, and rise above the limit of the past. Together, let us build that future in Nigeria that connect, reforms, and prosper. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
One thing I took out of that speech was, a nation can correct itself without collapsing, and that is very true. So we should all come together and be one, and do what is needed of us to do. Now, introducing our next speaker, Professor Usman Muhammad. A little biography again. Professor Usman Muhammad is a distinguished Nigerian scholar of political science and international relations, celebrated for his intellectual depth, leadership, and enduring contribution to peace building, governance, and development in Africa. With over 3 decades of scholarship and public service, he stands among northern Nigeria's foremost voices on democracy, conflict management, and regional integration. Born on 15 March 1963 in Kawo, Kaduna State, he began his journey of education at Baptist Pastor School and St. John Rimi College before advancing to the College of Advanced Studies, Zaria, Ahmed Bello University, where he earned a BSc in sociology. He later obtained MSc and PhD degrees in international relations and postgraduate diploma in education from the University of Abuja. His intellectual horizon broadened internationally as an international scholar at Dawson University, US in 2016. Please help me welcome once again Professor Usman Muhammad.
Leave them. Abdul, Nasir. Leave them. Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I stand on the best existing protocol here. I welcome Madam Nasir to the Northwestern Citizen Engagement that portrays the achievement of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his renewed hope agenda, and especially in the oil sector. I must say that Nigerians have been very cooperative in understanding this oil subsidy withdrawal, and then some reforms that are painful that the citizens are taking through, but with hope that the Nigerian nation and the citizens will definitely reap this hardship. Having been committed to his economic packages and having seen his political moves, I have no doubt that indeed the president means well for the nation. Now, my paper is to look at this regulatory framework within the existing Nigerian economy and the politics, and if there is anything to bring out the salient issues, the achievements so far, and also, lastly, to prefer far-reaching solutions to the crisis of confidence in the governance. Now, as you know, Nigeria remains one of Africa's most resource-endowed nations, possessing an estimated 37 billion barrels of proven crude oil reserves, excuse me, and 209 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, positioning it as the continent's largest oil producer and one of the top 10 globally in OPEC. Since the discovery of commercial oil in in 1956, the petroleum sector has evolved into the backbone of Nigeria's economy, having thrown away agricultural sector from the colonial economy. Agriculture was the mainstay of the economy. To having discovered oil in commercial quantities, Nigerians abandoned agriculture and they heap on the production of oil. Now, many successive governments came and reformed this sector in order to have the maximum revenue possible from the oil sector. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda is one of it that represents strategic reorientation of Nigeria's governance and economic model. The agenda seeks to revitalize key productive sectors, strengthen institutional accountability, and position Nigeria on a path towards sustainable economic prosperity beyond 2027. Among its 8 thematic pillars, the energy and natural resources sector is prioritized as a critical driver of fiscal stability, industrialization, and job creation. Central to this vision is the optimization of the upstream oil and gas sector, which remains the single most strategic contributor to national revenue and export earnings. It's very important to understand that the Petroleum Industry Act was a landmark reform aimed at transforming Nigeria's oil governance architecture. It created 2 primary regulatory bodies, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and then the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. To ensure transparency, competitiveness, and investor confidence in the energy sector, this was done with much enthusiasm. Additionally, the transition of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, into a limited liability company, NNPCL, marked a paradigm shift toward commercialization and performance-driven management. Now, what has been the problem that Nigeria needed all these reforms? Over the past 2 decades, Nigeria's oil and gas sector has experienced regulatory inconsistencies, policy reversals, and institutional inefficiencies that have weakened its contribution to national development. So, due to the fact that this cash cow has been weakened over the years since 1956, very many reforms need to be taken in order to strengthen the sector, commercialize it, and to make it very productive. Between 2019 and 2024, Nigeria lost, for example, an estimated $15 billion annually to oil theft and pipeline sabotage. This has been the problem. Vandalization of oil and then loss in revenue. Additionally, the oil and gas investment inflow declined by 24% within the same period due to fiscal uncertainty and insecurity in producing regions. This has been the report of the World Bank. These challenges have constrained fiscal revenues, with oil receipts accounting for less than 40% of total federal earnings in 2023, compared to 70% in 2011, the CBA report. Now, what is the objective of this paper in line with the agenda, with the Renew Hope agenda? Number one, to evaluate the performance trends of Nigeria's upstream oil and gas sector from 2019 to 2024. Number two, to analyze the impact of Petroleum Industry Act, PIA 2021, and other regulatory reforms on sectoral efficiency. Number three, to examine the empirical relationship between upstream performance indicators and Nigeria's GDP growth. And lastly, to identify policy and institutional measures capable of sustaining economic growth and development. Now, this paper researched very well on all these issues and has captured so many statistical variables and data from the Office of the National Bureau for Statistics. Now, what is the link? What is the link between oil governance and economic prosperity? Oil governance, hello. Oil governance has been widely studied as a determinant of national development outcomes. According to Ross 2019, effective regulation mediates the resource curse by promoting transparency, reinvestment, and industrial linkages. We have taken Norway as a country to look at their petroleum model, and then we demonstrate how state market synergy under a strong regulatory regime led to diversification and fiscal savings, with oil rents contributing less than 20% of total GDP. Norwegian Ministry of Finance have given a classical example of how to manage resources. Conversely, in many developing economies, such as Nigeria, weak institutions and inconsistent regulation have entrenched dependence. So Nigeria's model is that Nigeria depends so much on oil. While other countries, it is not oil they depend on. They have the oil, but they have diversified their economy. They have made savings. They have made investment and reinvestment. And that is how it goes. So Nigeria should also copy from those countries such as Norway. Now, in In many developing economies such as Nigeria, weak institutions, inconsistent regulation have entrenched that dependency. Noted that by 2010 and 2020, Nigeria lost approximately $35 billion to inefficiencies in joint venture operations and subsidy regimes. The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NITE, revealed persistent discrepancies in production accounting and royalty remittances. So if you don't know how many barrels you produce per day and how many barrels you produce 3 months, how much you earn 6 months, 9 months, then the last quarter of the year, you don't know how many barrels you produce, then there is a problem of accounting and also of remittance. And this is where the crux of the matter is. So the Renewed Hope agenda must have to provide an opportunity to align Nigeria's regulatory and institutional frameworks with global best practices, emphasizing fiscal discipline, environmental standards, and investor confidence. Once this Renewed Hope can go ahead and achieve this, which is achieving, I'm very sure, then there will be little leakages. And the revenue will be utilized in transforming the country drastically. So I have talked about the PIA, Petroleum Industry Act 2021, the reform and the changes that we have seen. And then we have also looked at the global case studies in regulatory excellences. How do other countries reform their petroleum industry? How do they manage it? How do they manage the resources? How does it yield? And we take Norway, Saudi Arabia, United States, and Nigeria. We look at the oil output per day, and then we look at the key features of their successes. For example, Norway had Petroleum Act 1996, the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate. Oil output was 1.9 million. Key features of the success: transparency, sovereign wealth fund, and then local content. Number 2, Saudi Arabia, Energy Governance Act, Aramco National Policy. They produce 9.2 million barrels per day. Then state corporate synergy, reinvestment, production stability. United States, they produce 12.4 million. Hello. United States produce 12.4 million. And then they have Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So they usually review this from time to time. And they have technological innovation. Nigeria Petroleum Industry Act, they produce 1.4 million. Regulatory reform in progress. Institutional bottlenecks are many. So the upstream sector and the GDP correlation in Nigeria 2019 and 2024 to 2024 is also captured here. Now, what is this Renewed Hope agenda and economic transformation? What do you understand by Renewed Hope agenda and economic transformation? The Renewed Hope agenda emphasizes energy reform, infrastructure investment, and governance accountability. These are the 3 key issues in Renewed Hope agenda. President Tinubu's energy transition and industrial policy prioritizes upstream performance as a lever for economic expansion. Preliminary government data in 2024 indicate that reforms in the oil sector will increase fiscal revenues by 3.2 trillion annually and reduce subsidy-related losses by 1.8 trillion. That is the hope they came in and the research that they did. This aligns with medium-term national development plan. which targets 6% average GDP growth through improved energy governance. However, achieving this target requires institutional upstream sector, the NNPCL, as well as effective enforcement of local content policies. This is an ongoing agenda by the regime. Now, my paper has seen resource governance theory, has utilized two theoretical frameworks. These theoretical frameworks are resource governance theory and institutional theory. Resource governance theory and institutional theory. This is a research, and the outcome of the research has been the recommendations of the paper. So, I'm not going to waste time on the population of the study and then the sample and sampling technique. These are all academic. Who has the paper will go through them and look at the statistics that we have done, the research instruments that we have deployed, and the variables, model specifications that we have come up with. Then we have so much relied on the reliability and validity of the instruments that we have used. We have looked at ethical considerations, scope and delimitation of the study, and also data presentation analysis and interpretation, all in the paper. And then we look at also the regulatory reforms and institutional performance from 2019 to 2024 in page 12. We also look at the qualitative and quantitative sector of the oil sector performance and economic growth in Nigeria between the years. And we have done some regression analysis, and we have come out with the results. Now, the summary of the findings of this paper is that, hello, hi, please give me some time, I'm concluding this paper. The summary of the key findings of my paper is the fact that Nigeria's upstream oil production is recovering post-PIA, averaging 1.67 million barrels per day. It was 1.4, now 1.67 million barrels per day in 2024. It remains below the OPEC quota. Number two, the GDP growth is significantly correlated with regulatory quality and investment inflows. Number three, comparative analysis places Nigeria below top global benchmarks in efficiency and diversification still. So the government has to do a lot to invest and reinvest and to meet up the global benchmark. Number four, institutional reforms under Tinubu's renewal home agenda are beginning to yield measurable gains in transparency, revenue performance, and policy coherence. Then the study validates hypothesis that excellence in regulatory framework and upstream performance can serve as catalyst for sustainable prosperity beyond 2027. But the government has to do a lot. The government has to do a lot in the oil sector. I have seen some sectors employing our graduates, but I have not seen the NNPC employing the graduates. So the summary of these major findings is the fact that it examines the role of regulatory excellence and upstream oil and gas performance in amplifying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed home agenda as a catalyst for sustainable economic prosperity. But it has to take time. It has to take a bit of a long time. So the study employed a mixed methods approach, integrating quantitative data, GDP production, FDI, foreign direct investment and inflation, and qualitative insights, policy interviews, institutional assessments, and document analysis. The major findings are summarized as follows. Nigerian oil sector dynamics 2019 to 2024. Oil production fluctuated between 1.49 to 2.04 million barrels per day, averaging 1.67 million barrels per day in 2024, reflecting partial recovery post-PIA implementation. Number two, the oil sector contributed an average of 6.7% to GDP and over 80% of export earnings. Nigerian Bureau of Statistics 2024. Then the next is macroeconomic instability, exchange rate volatility, and inflation continue to constrain sectoral efficiency. If the naira and dollar exchange keeps fluctuating and there is volatility in the market, then there is inflation, you can hardly find any meaningful implementation of the policy, because the prices in the market will keep rising and then the poor will keep suffering. And that is where we are. That is where we are. The government needs to have strong physical control of its monetary policy. The government needs to also have a very good control of market prices. How do they do? Is to deploy their knowledgeable people in the policy industry. So, there is regulation and transformation under PIA, economic correlations are there, comparative positioning of all these are there. So in conclusion, the study concludes that regulatory excellence and upstream oil and gas performance are critical enablers of Nigeria's sustainable economic transformation. You can't transform the economy if you don't have very good regulatory excellence and upstream oil and gas performance. They are very critical. The empirical findings demonstrate that enhanced institutional efficiency, policy stability, and technological modernization in the oil and gas sector directly translate into macroeconomic growth, fiscal sustainability, and job creation. The implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 and Tinubu's Renewal Hope Agenda 2023 to 2027 has begun to address structural inefficiencies inherited from past administration. But as a royal father of the day, Sanusi has pointed some leakages that the government have to do in order to progress. Yes, there is reform. Yes, there are against. Yes, there are this. But there are leakages and spendings that the government really need to sit down and nip in the bud. As per policy recommendation, certain regulatory framework will be full implementation of the PIA 2021, fast-track operational guidelines for NUPRC and NMDPRA, digital governance and data integration and legislative oversight, establish a joint national energy and oversight council to monitor PIA outcomes, drawing on NITE audit data. NITE audit data says a lot about the leakages, about the production of the oil per day, and the efficiency and the remittances. So you can get that at NITE. Enhancing upstream oil and gas performance, infrastructural renewal, rehabilitation of the rehabilitated pipelines and export terminals, prioritizing anti-theft surveillance technologies. This will improve the revenue we generate. If we leave these pipelines and they are vandalized, and then export is reduced to nothing, and then there is serious leakages where they take away this oil, crude oil, along the production lines, then there won't be any realizable revenue. surveillance technologies need to be deployed as well. So, fiscal and tax incentives have to be there. R&D, research and development, and technological innovations need to go on. So, lastly, promoting economic diversification and local content. That is a sector that is being ignored. Integrate local value chains. Develop gas-based industrial hubs. Then look at the SME integration into the oil sector and the industry. And have a sustainable development and energy transition. Once you have that, you have to be, as a nation, you have to look at the environmental degradation. Today we are talking about copper in Brazil, the environment, what the oil industry has done to the damages of the environment, the damage that it has caused, and the oil spillage. That also has to be cleaned up together with the United Nations regulation and best standard. So this is my little contribution to knowledge. Empirical validation is there, theoretical enrichment.
Thank you so much, Professor Usman Muhammad, for that deep and enlightening presentation on the oil and gas sector and the challenges surrounding it. Mungode Sosai Malam. Please an observation. When a speaker is on the stand, please maintain maximum silence. Please. Thank you. Sir, one thing I noticed, I took from your presentation, from your observation, speech is diversification is the key to achieving economic growth. Yes, diversification is the key to achieving economic growth. Because if Saudi can be producing 9.2 barrels per day and their economy is as good as what you know, and Nigeria is producing 1.4 barrels per day and our economy is, I don't know, then definitely we have to diversify and also implement some of their strategy. So thank you so much, sir. Up next, we are hearing from another distinguished guest, Dr. Abubakar Hussaini Jibril. Dr. Abubakar will provide perspective on communication strategy, policy, analysis, and civic engagement for sustainable governance. His experience in governance consultancy and public service make his contribution critical to bridging research and practical policy implementation. A governance expert and a researcher with over 15 years of experience, Dr. Abubakar has led projects in national and international organizations and is currently pursuing his PhD in political science. Let's welcome our delectable Dr. Jibril Hussain Abubakar. A round of applause, please.
So I put this at the panel. I will see how that is taken in other areas. In education takes care. But the product of policy you come out with for the country. It's just that it takes time. Indonesia, Asian tigers. It is education that makes them to be where they are. And the road construction, critical infrastructural deficits, this energy, water, good roads. Thank you very much for that. We'll be going to the panel session, and our our other panelists here are going to respond to some of our questions. And the first question will go to our other comrade Ablanji. And sir, how would you assess the vision and practical progress of President Bola Ahmed Renewed Hope agenda in restoring confidence, stability, and investor trust within Nigerian governance and energy sector?
Thank you. Once again, my introduction. I am Comrade Motio Abijimo and Jeshuku and Manipo Nataichi. President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda has shown promise and is restoring confidence and stability in Nigeria's governance and energy sector. Just like our indefatigable professor has articulated in his speech. The agenda focuses on economic diversification. That means diversifying from one thing to another in the energy sector. Energy sector reforms and anti-corruption efforts of Tinubu government is commendable. It has done very well in the area of reforms as well as anti-corruption. However, practical progress requires sustained implementation. It is one thing to have a good template of making a difference. It is another thing to implement it. So far, the Tinubu government has done very well, like I've said, but I still enjoy the government to ensure that there is a mechanism in the course of implementation, transparency, and stakeholders engagement. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like you to hand over the mic to my able professor to add more flesh to that question. And the question goes again: how would you assess the vision and practical progress of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu New Hope agenda in restoring confidence, stability, and investor trust within Nigerian governance and energy sector?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. To start with, I'm not yet a professor, but we're looking forward to it by God's grace. Okay. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Visions usually based on assumptions of the things you see on ground. A little to the past, during the President Muhammad Buhari regime, his focus was on economic recovery. So the point is, if you're in a system where it's down and the economy is bad, your first step is to recover what you have lost. Because you're comparing the past and the present, isn't it? So what Buhari did was to try to recover the economy. And then Tinubu's slogan came out, what? Renewed Hope agenda. So the hope was to take on word from what his predecessors stopped. One of the things a lot of policy analysts discovered was, the waste you get, the leakages, according to using the professor's word, you observe from the oil sector. In Saudi Arabia, for example, the Minister of Oil and Gas had a program, and he said every con, a drop of oil is called a con. So every con is accounted for. Every con has a dollar value. Every con has a dollar. So if there's something drops, if there's $1 million con, it is multiplied by $1 million. And they have their electronic systems, they have their technical advanced processes that records every con that drops. So President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is telling us that it is high time for us to also have our own digitalized processes, so that every coin that drops has a value. you can account. You can't come and tell us that in one day you don't know you are approximating barrels that you're exploring and exploiting. You're already in problem. That means you can't have fixed accountability is a problem. So if it is 10 naira per ton, let's be 10 naira that was accounted. If 10 corn drops, let's be multiplied by 10. So we know multiply by the number of months per day, week, month, quarter, biannual and annual. And then you can simply make your projections. So if you're talking about economic diversification and you cannot account for what you are having, how can you then diversify effectively? So I think as the process goes on, we'll respond to more of these questions.
Thank you very much. Anything to do influencer today. Once you have a cell phone, you have followers on your social media handles, you can disseminate anything. But I want to enjoy us all that whatever you disseminate, and if of the policy, you also concern that person that has given wrong information, then there is a risk. Additionally, promoting balance and nuanced reporting. You don't just get an information about an individual and you go straight into reporting. Professionally, there must be a balanced news. If somebody is criticized over a caption matter, as a journalist, you are expected to visit the other party, except where you are shut out, to balance the information that you have gotten, to have a balanced reporter so as to sanitize our society. Then engaging in constructive public discourse. We have to be exemplary. Motivational speakers, journalists, team of personalities, biographies. We must be very careful when we are engaging in public discourse. You don't showcase temperament. You don't exhibit hatred. You know, because you don't belong to a race, you want to condemn a race. And more importantly, we have to all the way from stereotyping. Let me give you an example. You know, to common people, you see, if a non-Yoruba want to talk about Yoruba, talk here, say Yoruba, they pass your appointment. And if a Yoruba wants to talk about Nibo, say Binyami. And you know, and if the Yoruba wants to talk about Hopperman, they say Omamala. You know, we have to be very careful and mindful of stereotyping, irrespective of our race, dogma, and religion. Then lastly, youth engagement and skill development. You know, an idle hand is the devil's workshop. I want to enjoy the youth that we have here and to cascade faith out there. Once you don't have anything to do, you are already a tool to govern. You are already a tool to destruction. So let us not set the country even unnecessarily. Let's be our brother's keeper and let's be good Nigerians. Thank you, teachers. Thank you very much. Doctor, can you please add to the issue of youth engagement and strength development?
And for the betterment of the citizens, whether youth or not the youth. In him. So we are all, everybody's a youth. Okay? And there's nothing of having youth in their government. But like I said that time, we always expect from the government, or we should also have an agenda on what our country. The most valued personality is he who has. Imagine, if you have something to offer, coming to your house all the time to do for your daddy, your father, people. But that today is you know, the time is always calculating dinner. He's always coming when it's time for dinner. At the end of the children in the house will name him. That was one that likes being here again. Because he's always coming to receive. But what if he's somebody that your dad will always welcome with the red carpet reception? That means he's coming to give. So what kind of gift are we? Are we a receiving or a giving? Regardless of what we have dropped out or we are in 100 level or about to graduate or we have our own self and businesses, do we give to the next person? We are not going to buy a presidential jet for the president, no. But we are saying, look at the closest person to you and offer some value to that person's life. Do you have a business that employ the person that is qualified to be employed? We're also not saying you should employ emotionally, but let us be a youth that will improve the welfare of an individual and individuals that make communities, that make society, that make population. So help an individual, and by we all help individuals collectively, we discover that we are helping our society. There's in Kulimashi, they help to innovate. I think like the in particular school, they help to innovate their primary school. Just to their laboratory, develop a new laboratory. It's a building on its own, and they donated computers. And that school is no longer trying to develop about computers. They donated 60 computers, and they're training students on it. So let us be a youth that gives, that adds value to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Comrade, please talk to us about the mechanism that can be put in place to ensure the achievement of the renewed youth agenda, becoming enduring national policies that outline political transitions.
Thank you. Mechanisms to ensure the achievement of the renewed youth agenda becoming enduring national policies include institutionalizing reforms through legislation and regulation. And in this facet, if your hands are not busy, let's put our hands together for Asiwaju. It appears that the people on the back, their hands are too busy to put their hands together for Asiwaju. Why I enjoy you to do that is that coming on board of President Tinubu, he has also injected few changes that are effective, namely local government reforms. And you know, that has given us a window for us to go to our local government and ask our chairman of local government on how he has extended the allocations that he's getting. Yes, that is the autonomy. Tinubu won't come to any state and start going to any local government chairman. With this local government reforms, you can put your biro on your paper to ask questions, to raise petitions over gray areas of certain issues. So firstly, institutionalizing reforms through legislation and regulation is the way to go. Secondly, fostering stakeholder engagement and participation. Some of us, we have what we call lackadaisical attitude towards engagement. When they say there's an engagement where you can be a contributory factor to what is happening in the state, you become lackadaisical. And once you are getting bad treatment, you start lamenting. If you are not part of some particular arrangement, you can play your own role. So we want us to ensure that we also engage and partake
in engagement that will be beneficial to our local government, our state, and Nigeria at large. Then encouraging transparency and accountability. We must on our own as citizens be exemplary. Even in the houses of God, namely the mosque and the church, you still find out that we still have to be exemplary about transparency and accountability. Once it is done, because most of what is happening starts from the family unit. Our president, our governors, our legislators, our senators came from a family unit. And once transparency and accountability is missing from the family unit, is a chain of connection. I told somebody someday, I said, if I am made the chairman of EFCC, I complain that there have been only focus on the mosque and the church. And Nigeria will be very, very good. Because you discover there are a lot of anomalies in these two houses. There is no accountability there. So we are enjoying us as our God castigating our leader, let us be exemplary ourselves. Promoting continuity and consistency in policy implementation. And I pray that when Tinubu is leaving, whoever is coming in too will overlap on what he has done. Because we have one bad culture and tradition in this country. Once a government leaves, another government that is coming to start a first thing to abandon what they've done. And that has become a lacuna for us to take progress.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll hand the mic to every professor now. Yes, sir. In 2 minutes, sir. We are going to talk about governance and ethical leadership, but the question is, how can Nigerians strengthen institutional ethics and performance management and governance to prevent reform being derailed by corruption and inconsistency? Because I know this is a topic on its own, so please, we want you to do 2 minutes, sir.
There was a government in a country where war against indiscipline, war against indiscipline, and that was the military regime. It was the conception of the head of state at that time that even when you want to relate on the street, you have to look round, else somebody will arrest you. Some of the next generations in this world did not go through that type of war against indiscipline. The military regime at that time, even when you want to speak on the street, you be careful. So, the government's responsibility to enforce discipline so that the human beings will know they are human, they should be held civilized, rest on her neck. There are agencies that don't work, or they are silent, or they have started working now. National Orientation Agency, the first, they should help in enforcing ethics and morals. What are those? They are the values that we cherish. We cherish them as human beings. Domestic violence is not of good ethical standard. Then corruption and indiscipline is not of good ethical standard. They have the responsibility to guide the citizens. The government, through massive orientation and reorientation. Thank God we have social media now. Before, when all against indiscipline was on, there wasn't any social media. So we were careful about our conduct. So what makes us fail? We fail because the government has not working out its responsibility of enforcing ethics and morals where we work with our children in the school and so many other fora. So we are just left on our own. So we talk on anything that we feel. And anything that we feel is not ethics. It's not morals. Ethics and morals are issues and elements of what we cherish in our culture. That when we go anywhere in the world, we will display it. For example, queuing up. When you queue up for food or when you queue up in a line, that is ethical. But some people will never want to queue up. No matter how fast the line is, they would like to circumvent the line. So these are issues and these are very, very important. It shows who you are. When you travel outside, you see people queuing for tickets at the airport or rail stations. You also have to follow in line. You will not shunt. Why? Why can't you shunt there? Because they don't tolerate it. So the government needs to strengthen our thinking, our capacity to act and how we think. And the next generation, they have to show them, they have to come out and show that little things matter. Clean up, not eating in the public, not smoking in the public, not urinating on the street. These are very important. And then where we work and at home. So I think that we have had enough demonstration of that war against that indiscipline. Now we know what it is. My generation know what that is. So we have left it out. Nobody is telling them. Nobody is orienting. Nobody is trying to guide. Nobody is trying to counsel. No one is counseling. No one is guiding. So they behave the way they like. And they feel that that is right.
Thank you very much, sir. Doctor, closing remarks, Doctor. What final message will you give to Nigerians on the role and their role as active partners, not spectators, in sustaining good governance, regulatory excellence, and economic prosperity beyond 2027?
Okay, thank you. Again, government works based on certain assumptions. The policies that the government will enact will mean that they are giving opportunities for the population to also participate in governance. I just want to take my to round up on what we call autonomy. So if the petroleum sector subsidy has been withdrawn, and then investors are given the opportunities to also come and invest. If the local government autonomy has been announced, it is therefore also an opportunity for even the local Nigerians, the masses, the down-to-earth Nigerians should also participate in governance. Now, because of the subsidy announcement, you can see Dangote refinery is booming. In fact, right now, a lot of Nigerians call Dangote the national kid, the golden kid, isn't it? He seems to be more important than federal government. But he's only enjoying from the policy of federal government autonomy. In our local governments too, we can now begin to go back to our local government, begin to ask our local government politicians what are they doing in governance. Somebody observed that when you go to Abuja now, you see less contractors in Abuja, you see less consultants in Abuja. Why? Because you have more resources, you have more funds in the state and now local government as well. So instead of wasting your time and resources going to Abuja to go and do for something, you can actually send your proposals to your state government, you can also send to your local government, and you benefit certain things from government. So as a take home, I want to enjoy all of us, especially as you, not to over-rely on tactics of government. Rather, let us create a synergy where you can link with government. What are government policies? You have to know what government policies are. Where can we key in? Where do we have the capacity to participate in government policies? In that way, we begin to have an active nation. A nation where every group, every sector is active. Everybody is competing to donate, to contribute to the system, rather than competing to reap from the system. If we reap from the system, we ain't going to have any other system to go back to. But if we contribute to the system, there is so much for us to go back to. So the key word then is participation and contributing to other government nation building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. A country that doesn't have investment in education is a failing nation. In the Bible, there is a small quotation that I like. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. And it is the idea of the Prophet said that seek knowledge, even if you have to travel of foot, go and seek that knowledge and come back. Doesn't invest in education, it's a nation that is on the tip powder of bomb. It can blow at any time. You can make use of the ignorance of the people. You can manipulate them. They will not ask questions. You can stop them. You can inflate them. They will not ask decent questions. Even they will ask you why. So we must be educated and we must educate. And we have money. That's what God will guide us and the nation. And the youths must engage in meaningful dialogue with their leaders. They shouldn't be violent. Meaningful dialogue. You can organize it even on the social media. There is a group that seek the improvement of the people, and you have to say there is allocation of money. And the government is doing well. You want to know how the government chairman structures of what Senator Obasani is doing. He has extended roads all over. He wants to extend the electricity. How from the local government that have the benefit from his government, how do they maintain the structures? We don't want to see a local government chairman doing a small culvert and then you attack so please, ask meaningful questions. What is the dialogue? And come from governor of their state. If you appreciate, if you see him doing something very important, appreciate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. With this, we have come to the end of our panel session. Please give a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much.
We will now move to our next segment, which is the God-Way message. It is made as protagonist and partners share one of encouragement and introduce themselves. I will start by my left-hand side.
So, good afternoon once again.
Which one is that?
Is it raining? My name. I'm standing here in place of Right Honorable
is a military spokesman of the national of the national. Once again, I bring that to Bishop, sir. Yes, so what's up? Standing on teacher like you. Thank you very much.
Great Nigerian students and youths together. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Being a former student union leader, you know, whenever I see students like this, I will activate that spirit, and then the nostalgic feelings will still come back. Number one, having gone through these sessions, a lot of things came up by the panel of discussants. And one of the things I want to, number one, charge us to do as youths, first and foremost, there must be this active and deliberate engagement of your mind in gainful ventures. You get what I mean? There are a lot of distractions in the society right now, as earlier said by the profs and all the discussants here. We need to come to that point where we have, because for you to do anything, to enact any positive change in the society, it has to first of all come from the mind. See, a lot of us see agriculture as something that is for the poor man. Agriculture is not for the poor man. Agriculture is not for the poor man. If you visit countries like Netherlands, do you know that the economy of Netherlands is sustained by ordinary milk? No. Madara, that's what's sustaining the economy of Netherlands. If you go to countries like Ethiopia, it's tea that we know. Apart from Ethiopia Airline, it's tea that is sustaining the economy of the likes of Kenya. They don't even have what we have. They don't have 1/8 of what we have, but they are surviving. So we must engage in agriculture by virtue of privilege. I'm a trained microbiologist, I'm a banker, I'm a farmer, I'm also a politician. See, we must come to that point. I farm, as you see me. Sorry, I'm from Benue. Till date, I've been in the farm for quite some time, but I still, as much as I can, engage in farm. Sometimes for 9 whole months, I don't buy a drop of gari or yam. I take from my own farm. Whatever I earn serves as an additional income for me. So we must leave this societal distraction. Maybe when you talk to some people, you will see colleagues come to office and sit down to begin to discuss about what is happening in Big Brother Nigeria. Something they pick from social media. They can waste 5 hours of gainful time on that. Let's engage our minds in ensuring that we engage in things that will give us positive income. Let's delve into agriculture. It's very, very important. See, let me speak this in our local language, the way we understand it. No man they lick oil, they sleep where belly food. You must eat food, and that's why we need to put our hands on the plow so that we plow the field. Now, sometimes if you go from the stretch of, let's say, Suleja down to Kaduna, from Kaduna to Kano, from Kano, sometimes I visit places like Jigawa, like the likes of Guaram. Sometimes when I cross the border to Niger, and now look at the kind of vast agricultural this thing that we have, that we are not even tapping from it. We seriously need to engage in that. Then number 2, on the part of government, we're still looking at the way that the refinery should be fully addressed. Let them be fully reactivated. Sorry, I'm married from the Niger Delta. Has any of us seen a crude oil here? A drop of crude oil. Have you ever seen it? You see that drop of that, there is nothing that is a waste in it. Meanwhile, we exploit, load the ships, send to them, they refine and bring back, and we go back to buy from them. Everything in crude oil is useful. Everything. That's why the feeder industries, the cottage industries are not working, because we don't want the raw materials to feed them are not coming. You will still go back. What comes out of our own economy are taken out of the country. When they still go, export them, and that's why you see the pressure on the USD, the dollars, constantly. And you see, that's why you see that we can't control, the price control has not been there, because the normal theory of economics says the higher the demand with lower supply, the higher the prices. Okay, so we need to have a situation where government will activate all the refineries. If they are working fully well, we will have sufficient raw materials. Even the feeder stations from Egbin Power Station to Shirero to Oji River, almost all of them, most of them that are having gas turbine, power generating, power generating stations, they need active feeding, which we are not getting. That's why most of the powers are elected, but God willing, most of these issues are being addressed. Then to cut the leakages, like Oga has said, if you sit down, take your time, do extensive work on how crude oil in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait. Fortunately, I have a friend who just returned to Nigeria. He was a petrochemical engineer from Kuwait. If you look at a single drop from the point of exploration down to the refinery, down to when it recycles back to the end users, no single drop is not monitored. But here we are in Nigeria. Sometimes when I visit the Niger Delta, you just see, you get to some places, you see what you see on the water like this. That's crude that is wasting. Crude that is wasting. So we need to get to that point where there is active management and policing of what we are bringing out, so that we can also have more revenue from that access. Then addressing concerns of the producing communities. Maybe that one will be for another day. Then, like Oga said, make your little contributions to the development of your community. Let it start from the micro zone where you find yourself. Sorry, now from a practical point of view, in my community for over 9 months, they've been without light. I said, we are waiting for government to restore light that has been drawn. They have given you a free 33 kVA, and you are waiting for just point insulators and iron bars. What are we doing? What are we now giving back to the society? By September, we raised a bill. What was it? Less than 10 million. I say, what can you give? What can I give? As I'm talking to you, even from here, we are restoring the light. We must not wait for government to do everything. So let's engage, give back to the society in our smallest form. Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege. Thank you.
My name is
I said they should look for me. I don't know that I've not written it. They should add it up.
Okay.
Abi?
People who have not written their names, so that we can make it up. Guys, I beg. When I take this one, man. When I take this one, sorry, we need the
scholars, Students' Union, Civil Society Organizers. Good afternoon to everybody. Nigerian youth, I want our conscience this afternoon with everything.
Sorry, madam.
Yes, the government is doing everything good. The GRA is there, tax reform, economic reform, and the as much as possible. Booker that said that the culture we eat the strategy for breakfast. What do I mean by this? And why people right from your paper, it has been said that.
Just give me that charger, let me, so that I won't forget it. I'm actually working. Sorry, I'm working from.
That all these reforms that the government is doing cannot be sustained, and that is why we have to support the government. We do not need to join the AIDS mentality. We have to be focused to know where we are going, so that this government will deliver on where they are taking us to. See, this problem we are encountering in Nigeria doesn't start today. One of the panelists mentioned it. It was a problem over time, and this government, with thank goodness, has come to start taking us back to a default setting. And we cannot really do away with the little pain we have encountered in the recent past. It's just like the president mentioned in one of his speeches, that is a pain that you undergo during surgery. At a point, after some time, the wound will heal. So please, let's have the focus and the mindset. And I want to end my address with a short story. One day, all the leaders gathered for their annual AGM. during their meeting, there was a competition that the lizard that will get to the top of the Iroko tree will get a prize. So all the lizards gathered, they were all raising to the top of the Iroko tree. So at a point, most of them got tired, they were coming down. But there's this particular lizard that was insistent that he must get to the, everybody was, please come down, you are the winner, please come down. But this lizard continued to climb the Iroko tree. But at a point, the mom was now asked, please, why is your son not listening? That is a winner already, let him come down. Do you know what the woman said? He said, no, my son cannot hear because once he get late, for those of you who are, that lizard is what is dumb, doesn't hear anything. So please, I want us to be focused to know where we are going. Don't let us join some groups. I'm sorry to use this word, they call the charlatans, who doesn't really know how to go about it. They are the ones that started the problem, and they want to continue maintaining it. So please, let's have focus and know where we are going. Once again, I want to congratulate the convener of this event. Thank you. Congratulations on the first Citizens Kaduna Summit. Thank you very much.
My name is Moshood Adeleke. I'm a business person. So permit me to greet my daddy and my lecturer. I just finished my master's in CASU, in MCPSS in CASU, and he was like a father to all. And also my uncle, who is my neighbor in town. And I greet you, sir. Yes. So as a business person, I will talk from a business perspective. So from the first day when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, he removed subsidy. That was a very great thing to do. Remind you, all aspirants of the last election, all of them all said they were going to remove subsidy. So subsidy is a scam. So after removing subsidy, he also floated dollar, which immediately it happened. We noticed inflation in the market. Things skyrocketed. At the same time, a lot of market people took advantage. They were stock and keep, waiting for it to go up and sell. You know, people that do grain business, they buy grains, keep it. After a while, they will sell it, probably close to Ramadan period. But you can't dare not try it this time. If you can remember, a few weeks ago, Dangote said on the media, that this is a wrong time for you to keep dollar, meaning dollar will keep coming down. So this is also the applause for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yes, Asiwaju 2 times, inshallah. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
All work together, we unite. That's our motto. He asked me to tender his apology. He's supposed to be here himself, but he has an urgent call in Abuja. So once again, for the organizer of this conference, he said, thank you very much. God bless, and mercy journey back to your destination. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate everybody. Now, be ready to take the picture. Please, let me raise that your. Let me raise it up like this. Take it. Go round, go round. Who is this?
Let me close the remark.
Oh, yeah, be saying that, be saying that. Very well, please raise it.
What an incredible time to have had at the NUPRC Citizen Connect Conference with this Extraying. We have talked, we have learned, we have listened, and most importantly, we have real insight that will shape our.
Professor Usman Muhammad.
Can you briefly summarize your paper?
Yeah, well, the essence of the paper is all about oil and gas regulatory sector. It is a sector that is so sensitive, and the fact remains that it is essential for achieving inclusive growth, energy security, and economic resilience. And it's so strategic that by this time, after 2 years of the Tinubu renewed agenda, we should start to witness certain benefits. There are withdrawal of the subsidy, there is the money that is accruing to the coffers of the government, and then without these reforms, we know it wouldn't have been possible to have those things. But then the question is, of course, amplifying the achievement of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and at the same time asking questions of putting this money, investing and reinvesting this money in the critical sectors of the economy, making employment to be possible, making the citizens to be happy, and also calling the attention of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to some very critical areas of Nigeria's economic sector, without which there will be issues in 2027. Where is the foreign direct investment? And then the production indices. The paper demonstrates that strategic reforms in the oil and gas sector are essential, of course, for achieving inclusive growth. But then there is inflation that was beaten, the volatility of the market of the naira and dollar in the market is making nonsense of so many achievements in the most possible short term that the government needs to understand and reap. So it is important, this engagement is very important for scholars and also for those that organize this and for the politicians to understand that yes, the oil sector will not be alone to bring in 84 or 80 or 70% of the revenue in Nigeria. Tax reforms have come in, monies have been put in, and there will be an aggressive tax revenue in 2026 that we realize. So the first citizens' engagement is to tell the government the truth. Already there is a royal father, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, that have talked a lot about how the economy will have been better without spending so much money on issues that need not be prioritized. We have seen it, you, the press, have anchored it, the social media have taken it. So those monies that are being spent on issues that are not economical need to be stopped. The leakages need to be stopped, and then the gains need to be plugged back to the economy. That is the essence of the paper, and the paper is not only amplifying the courage of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, no, but it is saying you are gaining, indeed, you will be gaining more when you strengthen the government. You have a formidable policy to implement both the fiscal and the monetary policies of the government to make you a better person from now to 2 years at the end of the regime, and then you anchor another regime that will transform the country in agriculture, in education, in road construction, in other infrastructures. So this is the essence of the paper. And the first citizen engagement that is being anchored and brought by Alhaji Nasir Abdul Qadir has made a lot of engagement here in Kaduna with the academics, with the politicians, and we have, as you have seen, presented papers and discussions are on with the panelists there in the hall. Thank you very much.
The co-convener of First Citizen Connect Engagement Conference in Nigeria. My name is Nasir Abdul Qadir.
Okay, today can you briefly tell us the essence of this government?
Yeah, the essence of this is that there's, like it's been said in several places, that the people perish because of a lack of knowledge, and that we can call it lack of information. And there are so many things that the government have been doing, even before now, that people are not aware, or there are mixtures that will misrepresent whatever that is happening. We don't say that the government is perfect, but what we are saying is that the government needs to let the people know what they are doing. That the First Citizen Connect Engagement Conference is about bringing people, reawakening people to their duty, their natural duty, which is taking their leaders responsible and accountable. So the essence of bringing this one is that a lot of things have been done in the oil sector, upstream sector, like what is happening in the Dangote refinery. You can now imagine that even some powerful nations that are hungry because we are now being independent of them in terms of refining our own oil. That is long overdue. So these are the kind of the result of PIA of 2021, which is deregulation of oil sector. So the essence of coming here is to let the Nigerians know, so that when people are not aware of what the leadership is doing, when Nigerians do not have a platform to even tell us what they are feeling, how they want to be governed, then there will always be chaos, there will always be misunderstanding, and then people can always use that against the existing government, even from external influence, external forces, like what is happening around recently. So the essence of this is that we are NGO, and we find it deemly necessary that we should do this, because Nigeria is collectively owned by all of us, and we believe that the only way we can even tell Nigeria not to be angry is to inform them exactly what we are doing. Look at the removal of subsidy. What are they doing with the money? That's exactly what we are talking about. The infrastructure, the things that will happen. If you can be patient with the reform is always very tough. Reform is very, very hard. Reform is always very, very tough. But Nigerians can be patient. But the word patient, we are not asking Nigeria to keep quiet. We are asking Nigeria to ask questions. We are asking Nigeria to come up and tell us that exactly how they feel, so that the government can know how to be responsible and responsive. That's it.
Of recent, the federal government came up with the sale of refinery.
Yes.
How will you react to that? Because you are talking about reform in the oil sector.
Yeah.
So what is the relation between these?
Yes, when we say reform in the oil sector, it's about government taking its hand out of business. You understand? It's not the government business to run business. The government is to regulate the business. The refinery should be regulated by them. That's the essence of it. Okay, look at our money-bound refineries, about 4 of them, for over 30, 40 years. Nothing is happening there. Only one man started something recently, and look at what we are having. We are having 65,000 panels per day already. So the best thing is that let the whole thing be sold out. Let Nigerians, let people take ownership, let them run it, and then let it be efficient. One thing I noticed about Nigeria is that as long as they find it available, as long as everything is working for them, they are ready to pay. Even despite the hardship, people are still paying taxes. Not to talk of when the government have now found it deemed necessary so that our people can live better. So it's a good one.
What are those things that you think citizens need to know about?
It's a philosophical. What citizens need to know is that this is the time that when we deregulate, we are killing the corruption. Over time, people have been looting subsidy. You understand? People have been looting subsidy. A lot of people have enriched themselves so much that at the expense of all of us. So by the time it's deregulated, I don't think there's any individual that will go into private refinery and say you want to loot, or that person should be paying you free money, or BUA should be paying you free money, or any other potential investor should be paying you free money. So Nigeria will now own their stuff, because if we leave it for the government will always think that I will go, I can't finish this job. But now it's in the hands of everybody. Nigeria should now come together as one. And I want to tell everybody in Nigeria today that in this country we do not have Hausa, we do not have Yibo, we do not have Yoruba, we do not have Muslim, we do not have Christian. We only have 2 people in this country, good and bad people. That's what we have. We don't have APC, we don't have PDP. If Nigeria get this thing clear, that we do not have all these things, don't let anybody use that to divide us. The only thing we have bad people, we have good people. We that we consider ourselves to be good people, let us work together against the bad people. Bad people are the ones using religion, tribe, and everything, so that we can use it against each other, so that you can close your eyes to their worst part, so that you can wage war against your own brother. But as long as we all believe that we only have bad, up in government, we have bad people, we have good people. Among followers, we have bad people, we have good people. We good people, we should come together. That's the essence of what we are doing, and to tell Nigerians that Nigeria is going to be great. If you